Hey everybody, welcome to the Digicast, featuring our host, Jacob from Digicast, Scott Lee from Digicast, I can't talk, Nathaniel Bandy from Nathaniel Bandy, and Gamer from Mars from The Gamer from Mars, aka Arthur. Welcome to the Digicast.
There we go. That's a great way to do it. I let Nathaniel take the reins this week, and goddamn, was that a terrible idea.
It's a really bad idea.
So, yeah, if you all heard that, sorry, Nathaniel's audio is very low in my ear. I'm pretty sure he said The Gamer from Mars from The Gamer from Mars. I'm just going to refer to him as that from now on, instead of his actual name, which is Arthur, like the aardvark that we know.
Or that one meme.
Yeah. Did you say you're a meme?
Or that one meme.
The Arthur meme.
Oh, God. I'm so sorry. Do you actually get referred to as that? Because that's really depressing.
What? The meme?
As that meme.
No.
Oh, thank God.
It's crazy how that just took off. That show's been out for 20 years, and now all of a sudden the internet attached onto it.
A random
The
meme.
internet's weird. It's just weird about stuff like that. I mean, why all of a sudden did people flock to that caveman thing from SpongeBob? Like, where did that come from?
The internet loves SpongeBob and now Arthur. I don't know why. I think it's just things that all these people that kind of grew up and now are on the internet making memes, they all could relate to it, so they all just make captioned images with those characters on them.
Well, they're really going to like the new series I'm about to do here and whenever, so I'm just going to say that. But otherwise, we got some interesting stuff to talk about today. We had the PlayStation 4 conference. We had the Apple conference. We'll touch stuff on that. We'll talk about a certain mobile game that got announced. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. And I'll just lead right into it. So, Super Mario Run. What do we think, guys? What do we think?
Not surprised at all that it exists.
I have mixed feelings.
I think a lot of people think that I was pissed off about this or something whenever it got revealed. I was more or less just kind of joking around about it when I tweeted something out about them kind of going back on their word and being inconsistent about mobile. Because they said one time that Mario would never be on mobile and we will only make 100% original content and there will be no recycled materials and all this PR nonsense that they usually like to spew.
But that's before they made $1 bajillion off Pokemon Go.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's before, Pokemon Go and Miitomo, because people already forget about Miitomo because this is the internet, and
they actually didn't make that much money off of those titles.
I wasn't saying they made a lot of money off Miitomo. Pokemon Go, I wouldn't be shocked about.
Did they make a lot off Miitomo? I don't think they did.
More or less, they got good press off of it, rather than actually making money. I mean, that's how they started their new My Nintendo system based around that, and they kind of got their foot in the door with mobile gaming, so I would just argue that their press, the good press they got off of that, was worth more than any revenue they actually gained from it. So
I'm the thing about everything I've seen from them in the mobile space is it all strikes me as so incredibly lazy. Like everything that they're putting out is just obligatory for the purpose of we gotta throw something on cell phones, and Mario Run is a perfect example of that because it's.
How is Pokemon Go lazy?
Well, is that a serious question? I can never tell when you guys have serious questions. Well, Pokemon Go is incredibly lazy because the mechanics of the game are overly simplistic. All you're doing is flicking Pokeballs most of the time, or you're moving around in real world space, which in and of itself, that's not really a gameplay mechanic. And then the other stuff about it is that it contains a lot of the, although granted, not as, it contains a lot of the horrible free to play mechanics of you give them $100 and you'll get 15,000 Pokecoins or whatever, with which you can advance in the game faster. Which is, again, it's not as bad as most mobile games, but it's still that disgusting free to play thing.
Well, they're offering you here's where I stand on free to play. I don't really care about free to play mechanics that much if the game is actually free and offers me a reasonable way of working around things and actually earning what I get in the game I don't really mind it then. And from what I've seen, all of Nintendo's games that they're putting on mobile have been doing that. I mean, Super Mario Run's actually going to have like a standard price tag of, I think, of a couple bucks on it, and you won't have to put down $100 to get Mario coins or to buy skins for them. I don't know, but
I feel like
everything I've seen, like they're actually doing
microtransactions.
free to play, correct?
How much money did Apple pay for the rights to the Mario game?
Oh shit, billions.
Like they probably made their money off that just from getting iPhone to give them exclusive rights.
They're already advertising it. Like I work at a phone store, and I've had to work on people's phones, and I'm already seeing it in the App Store constantly, like everywhere. I mean, Apple's pumped as hell about having Mario on the App Store now, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, again though, I think it's kind of like a lazy thing. I think it's just a pure blatant business partnership, and there's not really a lot of concern for the content of the game. And so it's basically like, you know, we don't have Mario over there, so we're going to put Mario over there. And the fact that they appeared at the very, very beginning of that press conference or that keynote, to me, that like screams like, by the way, we formed this deal with Apple so that we could be on the stage as like the very first thing that's talked about. And my problem is that to me their direction in mobile is a departure from their dedication to product quality, and that everything that they have been known for as far as making great games is going to be lost over time in the mobile space. That's what I think.
They've always had lazy like secondary ventures though. This is nothing new.
Right.
You know, all their spin-off games, I mean, they happen every single year. And I mean, it's really not that surprising that Super Mario Run is so simple, because again, they're appealing to the casual audience. It's interesting because it's almost like they're going to be recapturing their Wii audience through a game like Super Mario Run, because you just tap, or with, you know, like Wii Sports, you just swing the remote and you can play tennis or bowling. This is they're attacking the same audience. So again, I don't think it's that surprising that the game is so simple.
In my opinion, this is one franchise that it makes so much sense to do this with, because Mario itself is already such a simplistic and just easy franchise to throw on mobile just because of the way the game mechanics work. I'm not really saying that I'm happy about the way the Mario franchise has been in recent years, because I think it's been boring and lazy and just not exactly well executed, aside from Mario Kart. I mean, Mario Party, New Super Mario Brothers, the Mario sports games, they've all been very just quote-unquote Mario games.
Mario
I mean, they
Kart
don't
is
really
lazy
have
too.
much of a... I would argue that some, but I mean, I see where you're going with that, because I mean, all Mario games have their own same personality and identity. None of them really venture off of one another. The last one I would argue did that was Galaxy to an extent, but more or less Sunshine. I mean, I really wouldn't argue that the Mario franchise has had hardly any originality in it since like 2007.
Yeah,
and
Mario Galaxy
this
was
just
the last
kind of
one.
I would rather Nintendo go do this on mobile and actually venture out and have deeper, more extreme Mario mechanics and games on actual console hardware. So if this is going to help that problem out, by all means, Nintendo, please do that, because you have been lazy as shit with Mario for a long time now.
I agree to a
That's my
certain
stance.
extent with that. The problem that I see is that if they what if over time mobile is something they have to rely on? What if that becomes their primary source of revenue? And then you look at what they have in the mobile space, and it turns out that it's just not up to par with what they used to have. They're still going to be fighting that ongoing reputation that they've been fighting against, where people have said that Nintendo just isn't like it used to be.
That's really pessimistic thinking. I mean, unless the NX completely flops, then something like that would happen.
And the NX may
Whoa,
flop.
called out.
I'm just saying.
well,
I mean,
I think that the NX is probably going to do well as long as it's a great concept and it has enough power to compete with the other consoles. But I'm not necessarily saying that the NX would fail, but I think that long term, that's still the battle that they have reputation wise. I still think that that's something that's on its way for them, and that could be it could be after the NX, or it could be at the time of the NX, but we really don't know. And I think that strategy-wise, on the one hand, while it might be good for them to get revenue from the mobile space so that they can release better games for core gamers or on their consoles, that's good, but it can completely backfire if they're overly lazy with the gameplay mechanics and actually putting out a quality a quality product that has depth on mobile.
Well, one thing I'd like to point out within the iTunes store, looking through the description, Super Mario Run, there's 3 different types of game modes. First and second one is just kind of like you play the game, but the third one really strikes me as something that could be really interesting. It says, I quote, "In the third mode, you can create your own Mushroom Kingdom using coins collected by playing the first 2 game modes." So does this indicate that Super Mario Run is going to allow us to create courses similar to Super Mario Maker?
I believe it will.
That would be cool. Like, I mean, I'm not going to read too much into them doing Super Mario Run because it's a Mario Runner. I mean, I don't think Nintendo was trying to like break the mold here. I think they're just saying, hey, we understand that this is a giant market, but let's put something on there because why not make money and why not do something that makes sense? I mean, Nintendo is a company that I have stopped, like, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, I've stopped wanting to predict because they just do insane things. I mean, really. And this is something that they're doing that makes sense. So I'm like, cool. I'm fine with that. I don't really see that much of an issue with it, but I don't know.
My theory is that they weren't even going to make a Mario game, but that they were like just kind of saying, okay, we're going to do these little side projects. And even if we do make a Mario touch game for phones, it will not be anything like a platformer. But then Apple came to them with just gigantic sacks of money. And they said, okay, make us an exclusive Mario platformer game for our system. We're going to promote it like hell on all the different things that we have, our events, the front page of the App Store, everywhere. And Nintendo couldn't refuse because it was just so much money.
I think what we're seeing is a scared Nintendo. I mean, they're being knocked on their ass now because Sony and Microsoft have overtaken the gaming market. I mean, there's no debating that. Nintendo is at the point of irrelevance, and they know that. And this is kind of an easy, intelligent way to put them back in the mainstream audience. It's unfortunate, but that is how it is now.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go as far as saying.
I certainly would go that far. They sell like nothing, dude. No, I mean, aside from the 3DS, they have no relevance. They don't.
That's true, but I mean, as far as like the Wii U, that's definitely true. But when it comes to the handheld market, and the fact that they did pull the Wii kind of out of nowhere with 100 million in sales, I don't think that Sony or Microsoft is going to sit around and consider Nintendo to be not a threat, because they've certainly proven in the past that they can definitely come out swinging with the right ideas. So, and they definitely still have all that cash in the bank everyone likes to talk about. Although I agree with you that they have been on a downhill slope, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Daddy Nintendo is scared because they're going back on a lot of things that they said a few years ago that they wouldn't do, and they're embracing modern technology, which, good. I mean, thank God.
They're pretty much being forced to.
It's about time.
Point.
What'd you say?
They're pretty much being forced to.
Yeah, no, good. I'm glad. If once they embrace online gaming, I'll be right there with them. But right now, I have no reason to buy an NX. I won't until I see some changes.
Hopefully, what all of this means is that they're going to begin embracing a lot of the things that people have been asking for. Like when the very first iPhone came out,
like Diddy Kong Racing 2,
and I saw the App Store and the whole concept, I was really expecting Nintendo to hop in immediately, and they didn't. And I think a lot of people have been wondering, where is Nintendo in that space? And now they're finally reluctantly doing it, but maybe, if we're lucky, they'll actually embrace all of it fully and then start doing some interesting things.
I hope so. I mean, personally, I've actually really been getting into mobile gaming lately. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff on there. It's a lot of interesting things. It is certainly the only way I will ever play a Final Fantasy game fully again, because it's the most convenient way to do it, and I will not sit on a console and play it. I just won't. I don't have the time to do that, nor do I even care. But playing it on my phone, popping it out, beating a few battles, kicking ass, playing as Cloud, yeah, I'll do that on the go all the time. I'll play Sonic the Hedgehog on the go. Yeah, I'm not going to do that on my PS4. On the PS4, I want to sit down and be immersed for hours in something that my phone can't do. That's the way I look at it.
So I actually played Pokemon Go for a long time this weekend.
Yeah, let's hear this story that you've been talking about.
Yeah, what happened? What actually happened is my girlfriend. She actually dragged me into it, and we went out driving all over town, and we went all over the place. Turns out malls have like a cajillion Pokestops and stuff, but this was the first time that I had played like at a stretch and kind of tried to take the game a little more seriously than how seriously I took it on launch day. I kind of looked at Pokemon Go on launch day and was like, yeah, okay. And I wasn't super impressed, although I thought it was interesting what was happening from a social standpoint. But as it turns out, there's actually a lot of people out there still playing the game, still after launch day. The number of downloads continues to go up. Now, granted, maybe not at a gaining pace, I'm not sure, but Apple mentioned that whenever they were introducing Pokemon Go for the Apple Watch, and they had mentioned that I think it's already past 500 million downloads or something crazy like that. I may or may not have that number wrong, but I think that's what I heard. But anyway, so what ended up happening is I got into like some of the more advanced items and stuff. I figured out stuff about actually evolving Pokemon and incubating eggs and all that stuff. I got into some of the other things about the game that make it a little bit more than just a typical mobile game, or hopefully a tiny bit more than just an Ingress remake like Niantic had put out previously. I don't know. But anyway, we had a lot of fun. And this is one of those games that, you know, call my girlfriend a casual or whatever. Her name's April, by the way. Call April a casual, but she loves playing Pokemon, and it is something that you can get together with people and go do, and people have an easy time getting into it. And from that standpoint, that's actually a pretty big positive, I think. Are you... I can't hear you guys. Are you guys talking?
No.
Oh, okay. I guess we were just deciding to have a full minute of silence right there at that point.
I guess I was waiting for somebody else to talk. But the thing about Pokemon Go is it's going to be over when the weather gets colder.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've actually been looking up things about Pokemon Go and Blow. It's a way that you can meet up and have sex and go catch Pokemon together. So that's a thing.
Winter in Houston, by the way, is...
I like how we just blew right past that.
Winter in Houston is the perfect time to go play Pokemon Go. A lot of the time, we're like slowly driving around neighborhoods in our cars, and it looks really creepy. So, yeah, I'll actually be able to walk around here in Houston whenever the winter sets in.
I mean, are we talking about sex, or are we talking about Pokemon Go here? Because I'm that way.
We're talking about all of that stuff in the Houston, Texas heat. That's how bad it is.
Oh yeah, where I used to live, it was pretty bad. I mean, and like we were talking about, you know, when it comes to sex, I mean, I am quite the sweaty man, unfortunately. When it comes to Pokemon Go, I'm sweaty too. So I mean, if I could kill two birds with one stone.
In both cases, or is it only one or the other? Or?
I wouldn't necessarily say abnormally, but I am definitely one to come out of the sack with sweaty gooch. So, I'm just saying.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. In regards to Pokemon Go and sex, I think that's an interesting market. I want to see more porn sites adopt that. That would kind of be funny.
I'm actually, in all seriousness, I'm wondering how far the whole like geospatial game concept is going to go. Because I think there's a lot you could do, but I also think that there's really terrible things that could happen with certain game concepts that are similar, where you go to real-world locations. So I am kind of interested to see where that aspect of mobile gaming goes.
Yeah, I mean, in regards to Pokemon Go, like there is a lot that you can do. There's a lot that you can find. I mean, I remember hearing a story about Pokemon Go, like a player actually found a couple of people like having sex in the office and took pictures of them with Pokemon on top of them. That's pretty great. So I want to see more stuff like that. See, Nintendo, that's the kind of innovation that we've strongly been missing from your company, and let's see more of that. That's what I have to say on the subject. So. Nathaniel, what'd you do this week? What's up?
Well, I have gotten back into school, been doing schoolwork, and then YouTube work, and then I sleep, and then I do it all over again. Pretty much.
Wow, you really have a lot to contribute.
You sound so happy with your situation right now.
So happy. No, actually, I really like the classes I'm taking. Except my law class. I'm taking this business law, and I've never taken anything like it before. So learning all the jargon, it's been very challenging. But besides that, it's been pretty cool.
I'd certainly bet this isn't Legally Blonde.
No, not quite.
I wish. Reese Witherspoon is a looker. She's a looker.
Wait, are you saying you have a thing for Reese Witherspoon, or?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say I don't have a thing, but I'm not going to directly comment because I could get in serious trouble for that. But we'll just leave it at that.
I think your political answer is already enough to probably get you in trouble. But
my political answer. Do we want to talk about politics? No. Do we want to do that? Do we want to get thrown off today. YouTube?
It is 9/11 today.
Is.
That's true. We are recording on 9/11. That's right.
We are. I celebrated by saying, guess what, terrorists were still here, and I put hashtag USA, and I tweeted a bald eagle earlier. So
did you really?
I did that.
I must have missed that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I am all about that. I also tweeted first place in war, last place in debt. That's been my day. That's been my celebration for 9/11. So sorry to all the families out there who lost people. I didn't mean to offend you. I just like to make a goofy goof on the holiday. Everyone's too serious, man. We need to calm down.
I saw this one tweet from this crazy social justice warrior. Let me pull it up. It had like 20,000 retweets. It said, I got it right here. White people can't ever let go of 9/11, a single day in our history, but want you to get over 300 years of racial oppression. LOL. It had 20,000 retweets.
What?
Oh my God. There's no coinciding. Like, those don't go together. You're not making a smart, snarky thing there. And the fact that 20,000 people retweeted that just shows how dumb our country is. That's just sad.
Jeez.
I have no idea. It's like...
Oh, my God.
I don't even know what to say to that.
That's completely sad.
Wait, so say that again? I completely missed it.
It said, white people can't ever let go of 9/11, a single day in our history, but want you to get over 300 years of racial oppression. LOL.
Oh...
So I posted that on my Twitter account. I added the caption, I don't want to live in this country anymore.
Yeah.
You're so smart, people!
Yeah, maybe it would be a good idea to switch from talking about thousands of innocent deaths and going back to a discussion of video games, because, wow, that's really something.
Yeah, we'll switch from talking about thousands of innocent deaths to talking about killing thousands of innocent people in video games. Video game. See, let's see how I spun that around to cultural topics. Video games cause violence.
Have you ever thought about Pokemon? Like, seriously, like the concept of what you're doing in the game. You're running around like catching these animals, and then essentially, you know, making them into, I don't know, like your dogs. It's kind of like chicken fighting or something, or some of the stuff they do in like these foreign countries or whatever. Where like. That's kind of what Pokemon is to me. But, like, you know, in Japan, it makes everything seem like colorful and happy.
But it's cute because it's a mouse.
Because it has the Pikachus. It's got the Pikachus. It's got the Pikachus.
It's okay. It's not like dog fighting where they viciously tear apart each other's corpses. It's nothing like that.
And it's like, Pika, I will electrocute you, and you will be
it's like
fried.
Charmander. Yay. There's no fighting. There's no arguments. Go a Pokemon, trap them in a ball, and kill them. Yeah, it's basically that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I see it either way. It's harmless fun. I'm not gonna say anything that could be used in favor of PETA, but It's I don't know. I've never viewed it as like vicious dogfighting because they say that you make the Pokemon faint. You're not killing them. Totally.
Yeah.
They're just trolls when they make those games.
Yeah. Yeah, Game Freak's just a bunch of trolls.
I mean, we can talk about anything. PS4 Pro now if you want. Could say Mario's super violent. I mean, he's jumping on Goombas, literally squishing them to death.
Mario is a violent bastard, and he needs to be taken to court about that. I mean, that dude, good God. Think about the things that he hits in every single game. I mean, he's an animal abuser. He is. All the turtles that he has massacred. It's upsetting.
Actually, isn't there some sort of like a fan theory out there about like Mario being the bad guy because he's like destroying everything in the Mushroom Kingdom or whatever as he's...
There's a game theory, if you've heard of the game theorists.
Yeah.
And if it's on game theory, it must be true.
Obviously.
I think it's kind of funny, though. Like, that is kind of what you're doing. Like, you're going through the entire Mushroom Kingdom and, like, you know, hopping on top and stomping on top of all this life and stuff. And
yeah, you are a single force to be reckoned with as you take out all animal life.
I mean, the Goombas are obviously not intelligent. They're just doing what Goombas do, you know?
It's every Democrat's worst nightmare. That's the way I look at Mario. All right, we're getting a little political here. Let's bring it back around.
Actually, that whole thing got really, really weird.
Yeah, we were just talking about sweaty ball sacks and Mario killing people and just weird places.
We went from that to 9/11 to like some tweet about racial bigotry to Pokemon and animal abuse, and I don't know what happened.
It's because we are serious rebels, and we are acting out because YouTube is trying to deny free speach. And
it's
damn
like
it,
we're subconsciously shifting it into areas that YouTube doesn't like. Just because.
Gee dang it, I will curse and scream like a crazed person if I want. And in that note, let's talk about the PS4 Pro. You guys have anything to say about it? I don't have much.
I'm not going to buy it.
I do have a few things to say. There's an article here on Forbes that I want to semi-quote from. What is it called? It's called 6 Reasons to Buy an Xbox One S Instead of a PS4 Pro. And I'm not going to read you the details from the reasons, but I'll just read you like...
Wait, a One S? Not a PS4 Pro, but a One S?
That's right. I would
this
assume...
should be good.
I would assume that's if you're buying a brand new console right now. So number 1 is Ultra HD Blu-ray. Actually, for this one, I will actually read because I think it deserves some clarification. It says, both the Xbox One S and the PS4 Pro are taking advantage of 4K resolution and HDR technology, but while the PS4 boasts a more powerful processor and graphics chip, the Xbox One S is the only console available with a built-in Ultra HD Blu-ray player. This is important.
I honestly don't even use DVDs.
Yeah,
like,
I actually own like 0
Blu-rays,
I think.
Yeah, like I don't see it as an advantage at all, personally.
Reason number 2, the Xbox One S is cheaper. Reason number 3, the Xbox One S is bundled with 5 games. I didn't know that. Is that true?
Who said it?
It's kind of
Let me get on the Googles.
I mean, I'm just reading from Forbes. Number 4, the Xbox One S will have mod support for games like Skyrim Remastered. I didn't know that either.
That's going to be all Xbox games, not just Xbox One S.
Right. And number 5, backwards compatibility. Number 6, Xbox Live is still better than PSN, according to this article.
That article sounds really biased.
Yeah.
Well, Arthur, why are you deciding to buy a PS4 Pro? Do you have a regular PS4, or have you not purchased one yet?
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, I just don't care.
You just don't care?
I don't see the point in buying these systems anymore. I'd rather just upgrade to a higher-end PC. That's all they are at this point.
Wait, I thought you said you weren't buying one. Nathaniel, did you say he was?
Oh, I thought you said you were buying one. My bad.
No, I'm not.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I was real damn confused.
Okay. I was like, oh, all right. Yeah, I'm probably not going to buy one either. The only reason I'd want a PS4 is to be able to play Rock Band 4, but even that, I'm not that interested in playing, so...
I mean, what does that have to offer over, like, Rock Band 3?
Rock Band 4 is more songs.
But like
more songs.
Can't you just get the like Rock Band 3 for next to nothing and then just get like a ton of DLC songs for it?
But it's not the new one, Arthur.
Okay, yeah, gotcha. It's not the new one.
That's what they want you to think. It's like the iPhone 7. Let's bring this full circle. It's got dual cameras, yay, and it's got more processing power, and apparently it's the best iPhone that's being put on the market now, because iPhone and Apple don't totally say that every time they release an iPhone.
It's common sense. When would they ever make an iPhone that is worse than the last one?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not like they did that with the iPhone SE or anything.
Yeah, or took out the auxiliary jack.
Yeah, it's not like they're forcing you to charge headphones and pay $60 for those things, too. I mean, Apple would never do that.
So do they give you a free pair of those wireless headphones with it, or you have to pay extra for those?
Honestly, I don't even know. I just know. I'm pretty sure they give you just wired ones in the box, and they give you that, like, absurd hookup where you have to hook it into an adapter that hooks into another adapter that plugs into your charging port. I mean, that's just... You're forcing an Apple. If you're not going to include wireless headphones in everyone's box... Don't even do it.
It comes with them. I just checked. It comes with the EarPod, iPhone, and then the usual stuff.
Okay.
Thank God.
Did you say EarPod or AirPod?
EarPod. That's what it says.
That's the wired
here.
ones.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see.
No, iPod, AirPod, EarPod.
I'm pretty sure that the EarPods are like the wired ones.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, what the hell? What? Okay, so it looks like they don't come with the AirPods. Wow,
that's freaking Apple.
That's so like I'm not surprised. Like any other company would add that to like a $700 phone package, and when they take out the auxiliary port, but Apple is the only one that could get away with not doing that. That's why I've never bought an Apple product.
Apple is losing some of their zeal lately.
It comes with wired ones, and it comes with the adapter. So,
well, I think it's not coming with because the AirPods come out later. I think the phone comes out September, and it says these AirPods come out late October. So maybe
Apple's Apple and their shit, and that's all I have to say.
The last time Apple made anything great was the iPhone, the original one.
Yeah.
I actually disagree that the first iPhone was even all that great. I think the later models were better. At the time the first iPhone came out, I had a Palm Treo. It did all of the same stuff that the original iPhone did, but for some reason everyone thought that the first iPhone, maybe it's because it was a full touchscreen, but they thought it was so much better.
It was a full touchscreen. They figured out most of the touchscreen devices before the iPhone, you just clicked like directly onto whatever you wanted. With the iPhone, it was more fluid. You could swipe, you could slide, you could like pull the screen to enhance an image. They came up with a lot of little things of how to properly implement a touchscreen to make people want to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. The interface was something remarkable, I would say.
And admittedly, it's the prettiest looking phone on the market. I would say.
You said, I mean, design-wise?
Design-wise, yeah. Their phones are always very just sleek looking because they have like no buttons on them.
Right.
Which I think is a disadvantage now that I own an Android, and I used to have
all these Android phones look the same. All these iPhones and Androids, they're all basically the same thing. A little rectangle with a gigantic touchscreen on the front of it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how they're going back and like I've always noticed that Samsung and all the other Android companies severely ripped off of Apple in terms of a lot of things, especially their marketing, like their marketing strategies up until about 2 years ago, and now Apple's doing the exact same thing. It's just flipped. Like Samsung started to surpass them, and now Apple's like, oh God, we're worried now. So they just start taking shit from Samsung and putting it in there, or from jailbroken iPhones, and now everyone's like, oh, Apple's innovation. We did it, guys. It's absurd. It's like Apple has this insane cult of fanboys, and guess who they sound like? They honestly sound like Nintendo. I've always said Apple and Nintendo are the same company, just one's Japanese and one's American.
No, here's the difference. I've heard that argument a lot, and I don't think it's true because Nintendo does not overcharge for their devices.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
I feel like
I'm
the
talking about
mentality is
marketing
the same,
mentality.
Yeah, sure.
With Apple, they accomplished a lot of good things when they had just like basically resurged into the PC market, and they had come out with their new version of their operating system that was based partially on the next operating system, and they had a lot of really nice things going there software wise. The biggest mistake I think they made, which it will be their undoing in the market in the long term, is probably the way that they have closed out their operating systems, and they have such a closed architecture, which I also think is one of the things that killed them back in the day, kind of in between the Steve Jobs gaps as well, because their computers, nobody wanted to own them or to use them in business because they were so closed. And it was actually kind of similar to Nintendo. It's a little bit more difficult to develop for an Apple because you have a smaller ecosystem.
You're just describing Nintendo.
Of tools available. That may not be true today, but it was certainly true in the past. And so now that Microsoft is coming out with Universal Windows and wanting to put Windows onto every platform, it means that as a developer, and I know this firsthand, as a developer, you can build software with one language or one set of tools, and then you can deploy it everywhere. Whereas with Apple, you still have all these special rules that you have to follow if you want to get onto iOS. Which they have a few security benefits, but for the overall openness of their OS on the market, and in terms of how easy it is to integrate with other things, there are some drawbacks, and I think that that's going to be their weak point.
Yeah, I totally agree. And what I was saying about Apple and Nintendo being the same is that, like, what Athena kind of said is their mentality is the same. The way they produce things is the same. At one point they had something that was really innovative and they offered the market a lot, but they're kind of outdated to a point now, and I don't want that. I don't want that for either companies. I mean, I like both companies. I like Nintendo a lot, and I want them to come back strong, and I think that they can. I mean, they're making a lot of changes that are kind of smart, and I'm interested to see where they go. I've always been really interested in seeing Apple and Nintendo team up, just because I really think that some good can come from that. I mean, that I'm sure someone can rip me apart like a hyena in the comments for me saying that, but yeah.
I agree with that, actually. I think that if Apple were to ever do a console, the company they should do it with is Nintendo.
As long as Nintendo had control of what they would charge for this stuff, I would probably be okay with it. But knowing Apple, they would just say, okay, yeah, we know this thing would usually go for, $250. But since we slapped the Apple logo on it and we know all of our fanboys will go buy it, let's charge $450 for it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what they do right now.
I totally agree.
They've been doing that for
definitely
years.
Agree with that. I think Apple really overcharges.
Then again, I think that maybe Nintendo should charge a higher price, because the one of the number one things that is a complaint about Nintendo is their underpowered hardware. So maybe they ought to raise the power a little bit, raise the price, because that's what a lot of gamers are asking for. Or maybe they ought to have a high and a low end option.
It's one thing to charge more money because you're adding more features, but what Apple does, and even Apple fanboys can't deny this, is that they have the same hardware and stuff as the other guys, Samsung, but they charge more money for it.
Yeah, I remember looking at laptops one time in the Apple store, and I was looking through the specs, comparing them to what I have, and they had a laptop that was almost $2,000, and I paid like $800 for my desktop.
It's literally, they charge 100% more for their laptops than what a Windows laptop will cost you.
Exactly, because of an Apple logo.
Yeah. But real quick, before we go to questions, I do want to just touch on the PS4 Pro a little bit more. I'm just going to read a few things. For some reason, there was a rumor going around about the game patches for the PS4 Pro will cost money. I don't really know where that came from, but that's not a thing, apparently. Basically, the console is what we all thought it was going to be, just more power, more polygons, PlayStation 4 Pro. That's it. It's there, and I'm happy about it. The console itself is just kind of odd looking to me, because it's like they just kind of slapped another one of those slots onto the console, and it's a bit much. It's a bit much, I think. The console design is a little ugly, in my opinion.
I honestly think it's going to flop. Because, I mean, everyone already owns a PS4. Well, not everyone, but they already have like 30, 40 million units sold on the PS4.
I think it's like 50 million. I think it's I think it's over 50, but
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
50 million. Why would anyone buy a PS4 Pro if they already have a PS4? Like you said, the PS4 Pro, it doesn't sound like there's too many upgrades aside from it makes the graphics a little bit better. Like, I'm sorry, people already spent over $300 on their console. Why would they go out and buy the next one? I think it's foolish that they're doing this mid-console thing.
Polygons.
Yeah, for the specs, I think how many processing cores does the normal PS4 have? I think is the PS4 Pro a 6-core system?
That I don't know. I honestly haven't looked too hard at the specs. I just know that it's
if they're going if they're going
yeah.
from 4 processing cores to 6, that's actually pretty substantial.
Yeah, it's making a fairly large leap from what from what I saw in the conference. I don't remember the actual specs, like the actual numbers on it, but the power itself is taking a substantial leap, and it's not. I mean, it's not something to write home about, but like Nathaniel was kind of touching on, what else are they offering? I mean, it's there.
I feel like they should be offering more because, I mean, at least with the Nintendo 3DS and the new Nintendo 3DS, I still hate that name. They're offering, the console itself actually has better 3D. There's an additional joystick, 2 extra shoulder buttons. So there's actually a lot that the new Nintendo 3DS is offering. But with PS4 Pro, I'm not really seeing anything that's too substantial, aside from something that runs a little bit faster and looks a little better.
The 3DS, the new 3DS still looks like garbage, though. The screen does.
Oh, yeah. Certainly, yeah. It's because the resolution is ass. It's
the resolution wasn't bumped up at all. No.
What on earth is Nintendo doing that they have a system with a resolution that's worse than like the original iPhone that came out in 2007?
Well, I don't think they bumped it up for the new Nintendo 3DS just so that it would be compatible with the other 3DS games. So that's probably the only reason why. I could imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are like technical hurdles that would have overcome actually raising the resolution. I'm not a developer. I'm not Scott Lee. I don't know these things, but it's just
I don't necessarily know these things.
I'm not shocked. You know everything. It's fine. I'm not shocked that he didn't do that, because Nintendo has the mentality of, let's take old hardware and let's reinvent the wheel on some things and let's sell it for a premium price, or at least a good standard price. I mean, Nintendo consoles really are never overpriced. I think the Wii U was. Just because of what it offered. I mean, that system should have been $200 and just gave you a Pro controller instead of the gamepad, which should have been an add-on. Yeah. But I'm not getting into that because that's just an argument I don't even want to have with anyone in the comments, because I don't give a shit. That's just been told over and over again. I mean, as far as the PS4 Pro goes, though, I mean, the only other really added feature I can see is HDR, which actually is kind of an important feature just because of the way the contrast is with colors and stuff in the games. That's kind of important to me, just because I'm glad to see some games with some goddamn color in it again, not like the 7th generation where it was freaking nothing. It was all brown and shit-faced shooters, and that's all we got.
Yeah, but that wasn't because the consoles weren't capable of color. That's because...
No, I'm not saying that. It's even games like The Last of Us are being... Their color contrast is being improved substantially because of HDR compatibility. But with the PS4 Pro, the only other thing I can see is that light is going to be on the front of the controller and not the back, because that matters, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. The PS4 Pro, everyone. It's there. You can buy it if you want. I'm not going to.
And there's a PS4 Slim.
That console doesn't even... We don't even have to talk about that because it's worthless. So
yeah,
the PS4 Slim, the Slim is the equivalent of like a disgusting wet fart. I just want to forget about it and just move on.
I agree. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's move on. Should we move on to a break and then some questions, or?
That sounds lovely to me.
Okay, great.
Pacing of this podcast has been equally as bad as that of Fuller House. And with that comment, we're back, guys. How are you all doing? Nathaniel, you usually are question dude. Let's hear some. I'm promoting you to question dude extraordinaire. So
Yay. Okay,
rattle off some questions, young sire.
So this question, I'm gonna do a few. This one
go for it, man.
really only applies to me and Arthur, since we're the only ones living on YouTube income. It's from Last
Oh,
Creeper.
that hurts.
I'm sorry. We'll get a 4-player question in a little bit. Anyway, the question is, what will you do for a living after YouTube? So what do you think you'll do, Arthur? Because I need to think about it for a little bit.
What I'll do after YouTube?
Yeah.
The thing is, I have a decent amount of money saved up right now, which if YouTube fails, I have enough to just go back to college and be debt-free and get my degree, because I have an associate's right now, and I could just kind of expand on that to anything I want to. But the other idea that I've been kind of pushing around is investing in like a business or something of some sorts.
Okay. Yeah, what
That's
I'm
a very
probably
reasonable
gonna do,
answer.
Yeah. Yep. Well, you see, the thing is, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this YouTube thing full time, because I'm about to get my bachelor's degree, and I'm starting to look for other jobs. I'm getting a kind of like a film degree. It's called Media Arts and Design, so it'll allow me to get jobs anywhere within the film market, and I want to try to get something with editing in the future. So that's probably what I'll end up doing after YouTube, but beyond that, I really don't know. I guess we'll just see what happens.
I mean, I've always had aspirations to like direct movies and write films and stuff, but I kind of plan on doing that at some point if I get the opportunity. But it's surprising that even if you have a big YouTube channel, there's not much of a jump from, okay, you have an audience on YouTube, okay, we'll give you money and you could direct a feature-length film. That just doesn't happen.
You need to be like Smosh size.
Yeah.
I mean, just ginormous YouTube channel for an opportunity like that.
It's all about the connections.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep. All right, Jacob, why don't you find a question, and I'm going to look for another one.
I thought you were going to ask me what I'm going to do after I'm done with YouTube.
All right, I got a good question.
I wanted to be included.
Okay, what are you going to do after YouTube, Jacob?
I'm never leaving this site. I'll be here till the freaking day I die.
Okay.
I was waiting for someone to give that answer. Like, there won't be an after YouTube.
I will be on YouTube whenever there's only 5 viewers left on YouTube to grab. I will be here. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not even thinking about that. So,
okay. I have a really cool question for all of us. This is from Laughing Baitin 7. He says, if you got a job at Nintendo, what would you want to work for?
I want to be the next Bill Trinan, and that I mean I want to be able to eat donuts and wear beards.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see Jacob succeeding at that very well, actually.
Thank you. That's all I want. I want to be able. I want to entertain in a wacky, goofy way by eating donuts. That's all I need.
Would want to write code, because that's what I already do. So if I could go do that for Nintendo, I totally would. If they're listening, Nintendo.
There's so much agitation in that. Nintendo, if you're listening.
Well, dude, it's like impossible to get a really like well-paying game dev job, and Nintendo's probably one of the few places that if you can land that spot, that is kind of like where you could go to still make decent money writing video game code. But otherwise, entry-level like jobs like that start at like $70K, which I won't say how much I make, but it would be quite a pay cut for me if I were to go do that.
Yeah, don't like a lot of these places like treat their programmers and stuff like garbage.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's been another thing that's kept me away from it too, is that like crunch time is so prevalent in game design culture that they pay you a weaker salary than what you would get on the market average, and then they will generally, like, there's been a pretty pervasive culture that says like you're lucky to have this job because you're not only like working, you're getting paid to make video games, therefore like we can pay you $20,000 or $30,000 a year less than you would normally get, and yeah, you're going to work 20 extra hours a week. And that's kind of the attitude of a lot of these places, and it sucks.
In regards to interesting questions, I actually have one here on the S.FM. It just says by John. So thank you, John. But what's your dream game? It can't be a sequel of anything.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't say anything other than the game that I am supposedly working on right now that's unfortunately on hold. So if there's any better opportunity to promote that right now, I don't know what it is, but yeah, that would be my pick. And that involves, it's a strategy game of Paleolithic hunter-gatherers, and you manage a tribe and stuff, and it's basically like a survival strategy game, and that's the game I want to make. So, and that's definitely an original concept. Everybody else wants to add like dinosaurs or just make it like a first-person survival thing. I've never seen a concept done with like an actual RTS concept for that.
I would say my dream game is actually. I know they said it can't be a sequel or anything, but this I guess would just be I don't know. I'm not going to say it's F-Zero, but that pitch that I was talking about a couple weeks back about the person saying they want an open world F-Zero game, that's what I want. I want an adventure racer where I can also go around and get out of my car and fight things and traverse cliffs and other just random stuff.
Grand Theft Auto in the future?
Yeah, that's what I want, except better than Grand Theft Auto because I find Grand Theft Auto to be boring. Just because of the environment, mainly. I want something ridiculous like Captain Falcon's assless chaps running around punching people in the face. That's what I'm looking for.
I would pay to see that, honestly. I would.
Yeah, we can do that. We can make a skit about that on Digicades. We should do that sometime. Yeah.
I know I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I just want a platformer where you just run around as Captain Falcon punching people. That's my dream game.
Yeah, we can work that into my game.
Yeah. Like, honestly, that would be so hilarious. I mean, just imagine that.
Racing and beating people up as Captain Falcon. That's all I want. Please, Nintendo, get on that. Please.
That's my answer.
Launch title for the NX. Please, alongside Diddy Kong Racing 2. Thank you.
But Nintendo doesn't like violence.
No, they don't. It's fine. They only made Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Wait, what? That game exists? Oh, I forgot about it. Okay.
That is a very weird game, isn't it?
Yes, it is a very weird game. It's all about looking at Japanese teenagers' tits while singing and beating up dragons and demons.
It's a very strange game. I do not understand its appeal. But anyway.
Yeah.
That came out in the US?
That's fine. Yep.
Wow.
And it was met with lots of heated fans bitching about censorship. But I mean, when does that not happen? So, yeah, unfortunately.
It's interesting that you said it was about. Never mind. Let's move on.
Scott's got a question. Actually, it says my question for Scott is why did you decide to make a Tatsumi Kimishima parody account? And that is from Matthew S.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, I have a parody account for the CEO of Nintendo on Twitter. The handle is Kimishima Mafia, if you want to go check it out. I honestly, thinking about it now, I don't know why I started that. I think it all started from, like, I was doing research for Gamefinity one day, and I found a picture of Tatsumi Kimishima where I was like, man, this dude looks like a mob boss. Like, he looks really dangerous. And then I thought about, like, how... and I think I was reading an interview or something, but the impression I get... I don't actually think that anything I say on that Twitter account is anything that guy would actually say, but I think that it represents Nintendo's attitudes about a lot of the things that I post on there. And basically, like, the attitude is that, like, you're gonna ask for this, we're gonna give you something else, and then, like, essentially, like, damn it, you're gonna like it, like, you're gonna go buy it anyway. And
yeah, like Apple.
Yeah, well, and they're acting kind of like, you know, like a mob boss, where they're basically just like, hey, we produce the best product, you think otherwise we're gonna have to deal with you, you know, like, it's that kind of a message. So yeah, that's
with
how
that,
I came up
you
with
should
that.
all go out and play and pre-order Mafia 3. Sponsorship.
I have one more pretty good question. This actually comes from one of the Smash Compare editors, Gaming TV. He asks, what is your own worst habit when it comes to work ethic, and how do you get around it?
Oh, God.
I guess I'll just say real quick, honestly, my worst habit is Twitter. Often when I'm working, I'll pop it open, and then, I'll look through my feed for a minute, and then I'll get to YouTube, and I'll start watching YouTube videos, and then I wasted 15 minutes. That's my worst habit. And the only way to get around it is to just start playing some music and just try to get focused using whatever the music is. So
I'm kind of similar to that. I say my worst habit is also my greatest strength when it comes to getting back and getting focused. Is I will just find some random like synth wave or 80s music or old video game music, and I will just put that on my PC when I'm editing, when I'm feeling a creative lull, and I'll just blast it, and I will just do the weirdest ass dancing, and when I get up and then I will somehow get back in the mood, I will get up and like wear sunglasses and just do weird shit for 10 minutes, and I'll get back in the mood and like start working.
Yeah, sometimes
because I know I wasted time.
Is that
sometimes
how you ended
when
up
I'm
with
at the
your
final
profile picture?
Go ahead.
I was just asking Jacob if that's how you ended up with your profile picture, the sunglasses.
That's exactly how I ended up with my profile picture.
Okay.
Yeah, when I'm in the final stretch of like editing a video and I'm just kind of like, I don't have to listen to the audio anymore, I'm just kind of tweaking the clips and stuff, I'll just turn on a endless loop of the original Punch-Out theme, and that will just keep me going.
Yeah,
it's
anything
like
from Punch-Out or Ninja Gaiden,
basically.
Anything from like my favorite song probably to help keep me focused is Unbreakable Determination by Ninja Gaiden. So if any of you are working and you need to focus, listen to that song. You will stay determined.
That's a really good point, actually. I'm gonna do that next time. I know exactly what song you're talking about, and I want to see how it works when I'm like working on something.
Oh, it's so great.
The song that gets me working is that song that's like, I like that bass. I like that bass. No,
work your body, work your body, work your body, work your get down. Okay.
Actually, in all seriousness, though, a song that I love working to, that it's become my deployment song, like at work. Anytime I'm actually doing an actual software release, I wait until I'm doing the release, and then in the middle of the deployment, I play the main theme from End of Nations. I don't know if you've heard it, but it's absolutely epic and great.
All right. Well, as usual, let's talk about what we do. Nathaniel, where can the lovely listeners find you?
Nathaniel Bandy 1 on Twitter. You can also find me on YouTube. Just look up my name. I make top 10 videos, a bunch of other random shit. I don't know why people follow me, but if you want to follow me, go for it. I double dare you.
That's a good. That's how you display the confidence to the people.
That's
Arthur,
how you get those subscribers.
Yeah, really. Yeah, Arthur, thanks again for joining us this week. That was kind of really impromptu, but I'm glad you answered the call.
Yeah, it was random. I looked down at my phone and I saw that somebody was calling me. I answered it, and then I realized, hey, this is the podcast, and I had nothing else going on. So.
Yeah, cool. It was good to have you on again. Where can the people find you? I'm sure anyone listening to us already follows you, but let's just for my own sake,
sure.
Just
it's at Gamer from Mars on Twitter, and you can just find me as the Gamer from Mars on YouTube.
Awesome, Scott. You're making a thing. Tell people about it.
I'm making a game. You can follow its updates at scottfreecapital.com. You can find me on Twitter at Scott Lee. Hopefully that's not too difficult. And of course, you also know where to find me right here on Digicades.
All right. No one cares about me, so yeah. Goodbye,
Jacob,
everyone.
where can the people find you?
Oh, that's so nice of you to ask. I am at Indie Jacob on Twitter, and if you're listening to this podcast on our YouTube channel, you probably know that I do things on here